As a self-proclaimed JRPG fanatic, I look forward to most JRPG releases, but there are few that can match my excitement for the Persona series. It does everything so well that it's hard not to fall in love with it. Persona 5 is my favorite, so I was happy to hear they were releasing Persona 5 Strikers, a spin-off taking place after the events of the original game. It doesn't make any references to the definitive edition, Persona 5 Royal, so it doesn't seem like playing it is needed before starting Strikers. It's been a few months since the Phantom Thieves split up, and they decided to get back together for a reunion camping trip. It was supposed to be a relaxing and fun-filled vacation before they all return to the daily grind, but they find out that the metaverse has made its return. Now they're caught up in trouble once again as they try to uncover the mysteries behind this phenomenon, all while making new friends along the way, such as with Sophie, a mysterious AI claiming to be humanity's companion. The stories in the Persona series have always covered serious themes that I found interesting. Persona 3 explored depression and death, Persona 4 covered accepting your true self, and Persona 5 highlighted the weight of conforming to an oppressive society. Likewise, Striker's theme dealt with loneliness, but it didn't feel like it was explored as in-depth as it could have been. Most of the development comes from the antagonists met throughout the game. They had relevant issues that I found relatable, as I could see myself in similar situations, or at least imagine them happening in real life. But the story didn't go far enough to make the antagonist's struggle feel significant. If there was a little more time spent on the hardships they faced and developing empathy towards their story, I think this would have made a big difference. The storytelling was also less impactful, as they recycled some of their previous plot points. Still, I like what was done and was engrossed in the story being told. I particularly found Sophie's character arc interesting. Despite being humanity's companion, she is an AI unable to process feelings such as sadness or anger due to not understanding the complexity of the heart. It was interesting to see her growth as she slowly learns about the world, becomes her own person, and develops her own feelings. It was also touching to see how she becomes a treasured friend to the Phantom Thieves and vice versa, something that can be considered strange as she's not technically alive or a real person. I think sentient AIs will become an integral part of daily life in the future, and I'll always be intrigued with how they will be perceived. If there were to be AIs like Sophie, I wonder how many people would seek their companionship, especially those who have no one else to turn to. Besides the compelling themes, the realistic setting was also captivating. The Phantom Thieves traveled across a good portion of Japan as they tracked down the answers to their questions, leading them to places like Okinawa, Hokkaido, Osaka, and many more must-visit places. As someone who was able to visit Japan for the first time right before the pandemic hit, this made me super nostalgic and excited to go back. However, since I can't travel for the foreseeable future, Strikers proved to be a good alternative as I could live vicariously through the characters. Though each city in the game only covered a tiny section of its actual size, being able to visit some of the main attractions such as onsens, towers, and beaches was very exciting. Unfortunately, because the cast is traveling outside of Tokyo on their trip together, a lot of the confidants don't make an appearance. It was a bit sad that I didn't get to see the best girl Tei Takumi and other favorites, but at the same time, I was too busy enjoying the main cast's antics to mind. Despite the returning characters not showing much growth, I still love their personalities and group dynamic. Seeing them hang out and travel together showed just how strong their bond has become. Their personalities added a lot of fond moments to remember, from Yusuke's continued unusual fascination with lobsters to Ryuji's love of ramen. Quite a few other key aspects I look forward to in the slice of life gameplay were also missing. There were no more social stats, minigames, or managing a schedule between the school and Phantom Thief life, so it makes Strikers feel more like a Persona-like game than a full-blown experience. Bonds have also been changed so it's no longer possible to spend time with characters individually. Instead, the bond is related to the friendship between the group and is strengthened by progressing in the story or winning battles. As it levels up, points will be given to unlock a variety of passive skills like stat increases or better deals in shops. Though losing the slice of life gameplay was disappointing, Strikers was still engaging enough to hold my attention even on a second playthrough. Requests were tasks given to the Phantom Thieves that had nice rewards, making it worthwhile to revisit old dungeons or rematch bosses. Some requests were also a bit more personal and added more memories for the trip, letting me form a stronger connection with the characters. Surprisingly, the musou-style combat was addictive, despite my initial reservations. I typically don't like these types of games due to their repetitiveness, but Strikers makes it work by utilizing a lot of the features that made Persona 5's combat so enjoyable, like baton passes, which allow characters to be swapped and also increase the showtime gauge faster. Once the gauge is maxed, the super flashy showtime attacks can be unleashed, clearing out large groups of enemies with relative ease. They were undoubtedly the most awesome abilities to use. Weaknesses, one more attacks, and all-out attacks are also classic Persona mechanics that added enough variety to keep things entertaining. Combat was especially fun on the hard and merciless difficulties, where all these mechanics were much more important. The unique playstyle each Phantom Thief had also played an important role in making the combat engaging, so it never felt repetitive. For instance, Morgana can turn into a van and ram into shadows, or Ryuji can charge up his moves to deliver devastating attacks. Each character had a special ability that defined their gimmicks and made their play memorable. The feel of combat was also great. Ground and air combos felt fluid and were easy to pull off. Dodging added a useful defensive option that also allowed counterattacks. The fast-paced combat was done very well. It only stopped when absolutely necessary, like when selecting a skill or aiming a gun. But after an action was done, it would pick right back up to keep the momentum moving. Environmental assets could also be interacted with that had great animations and offered more options to take advantage of in combat. These were especially cool to use in boss fights as they interrupted some of their more powerful attack mechanics. The use of the environment was also an integral part of the traversal that made dungeon exploration fun. Because Strikers is an action game, there is much more freedom than before to jump on top of assets and reach higher places. The movements were amazing, and having more angles to ambush shadows from was a nice plus. However, the dungeons themselves felt a little lacking compared to the palaces in the previous games. They felt smaller in general, and their puzzles weren't as interesting or complex, which was a slight letdown. While the overall story and gameplay worked well to deliver a great experience, some of the quality of life improvements are also worth mentioning. These are typically things I take for granted, but they were more noticeable in Strikers as they helped give the game that extra push to make things even better. Previously, Personas would permanently forget a skill when they were overwritten, but now they can be swapped in and out, making it much less discouraging to manage. Also, massive Personas that are already in possession will be converted into points that can be used to level them up or increase their stats. It's great to see them be put to use instead of just losing them with nothing to show for it. Although not really gameplay related, the auto-advanced text for all voice dialogue was another great addition. Previously, I would frequently interrupt lines with long pauses because I thought they were done, so it's nice not having to worry about that anymore. The music was also done very well and continues to deliver the quality I expect from the series. The Striker soundtrack consisted of some remixed songs from a few of my personal favorites, but they also produced some new tracks that were equally good. The creepy song Singularity is a great example of one of the newer songs that I liked a lot. This is played in the abandoned facility dungeon and had great instruments that added to the creepy ambiance. The eerie violin melody gave me goosebumps that went down my back, and the bell jingles put me a little on edge as I was exploring the dark corridors. Every theme that was played helped enhance the exploration, make combat exciting, and bring out the emotion in the storytelling. While Persona 5 Strikers wasn't exactly the game I was expecting, it was still one of the most enjoyable titles I've played this year. Sure, it's missing that slice of life gameplay I look for, and maybe I'm cutting it some slack because it's a spin-off, but it doesn't change the fact that I had a good time playing it. Seeing the Phantom Thieves visit all the different parts of Japan and creating treasured memories together gave me a sense of comfort. It made me look forward to when everything opens up again and I can plan another trip to Japan. While the gameplay is Musou inspired, it still had that Persona feel to it, and that's what I love about it. Using all the different characters and fighting through the onslaught of shadows was something I never got tired of. Combined with an awesome soundtrack and a decent story, it delivers a great Persona experience. I'm looking forward to seeing what other ideas they will come up with and hope this isn't the last time I'll see a Persona action game.